Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today, because we're going to unpack what is honestly a revolutionary blueprint for technology. We're talking about a completely radical rethinking of artificial intelligence. Not just, a software update or a patch, but a literal ground-up philosophical rewrite of how these machines actually think. We're going to be analyzing a fascinating new framework called Maha AI Plus. And trust me, by the time we're done, it's going to completely change how you view the future of our tech. So let's kick things right off with a pretty massive, provocative question. Can ancient Eastern philosophy actually fix modern AI's ethical crisis? I mean, it almost sounds like the plot of a sci-fi novel, right? Bridging thousands of years of spiritual wisdom directly with cutting-edge machine learning. But as we're going to see, researchers are proposing that this isn't just a cool idea, it might be absolutely crucial for our digital survival. Okay, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the mainstream AI crisis. Then, we'll meet Maha AI Plus. After that, we dive into the new logic beyond binary, explore yin-yang balance and Taoism, touch on technology for ecology, and finally wrap up with towards cyber peace. Let's jump in. Part 1. The mainstream AI crisis.
Think about the past decade for a second. AI has fundamentally transitioned. It's really no longer just a handy tool on your phone. It has become actual civilizational infrastructure. In present day, we are smack in the middle of a super intense geopolitical race to integrate this tech into literally every facet of the global economy. Looking ahead to the 2030s, you see these massive global strategies like China's AI Plus initiative that are aiming for complete global technology leadership. It is, for sure, a race to define the future.
Now, as part of this race, academic researchers are neutrally but very firmly pointing out some major structural critiques of the current mainstream models we're using. They're looking at a serious potential for centralized power structures, where just a tiny handful of entities control all this intelligence. Then you've got the emergence of algorithmic bias, the real risk of the tech being used for social control, and honestly, some incredibly complex ethical dilemmas. These aren't just little glitches, they are deep, systemic concerns about how mainstream AI is currently being built.
Which brings us to Section 2. Meet Maha AI Plus. This is where we get to the inciting incident of our explainer. A radical new alternative has been proposed by a group of Thai scholars, including Dr. Samron Sampong. It's built entirely around a concept called ethics by design. So instead of building a super powerful AI and then kind of slapping a safety filter on top of it as an afterthought, which is what we often see today, this framework embeds ethical principles directly into the AI's core command code. Ethics basically becomes the foundational layer of the whole software architecture. So how exactly do they do that? Well, a big part of it comes down to the number 8. Maha AI Plus proposes taking specific Buddhist principles, most notably the Noble Eightfold Path, which is essentially a guide for ethical and mental development, and translating that straight into structural code. They also incorporate something called Yoni Samanasikara, which translates to systematic analytical attention. So imagine an AI that doesn't just blindly process data, but inherently applies this deep, systematic, ethical attention to every single decision it makes, right at its deepest root. Let's move to Section 3, New Logic Beyond Binary.
Now this is where the underlying tech gets a massive upgrade. The crucial difference lies in the logic base itself. Traditional Western computing relies entirely on binary logic, the super rigid 0 and 1, true or false paradigm. But let's be real. Human reality isn't always strictly true or false, is it? Maha AI Plus shifts that underlying foundation to Catuṣkoṭi logic from Eastern philosophy. Instead of just 2 rigid states, it accepts 4 distinct states of truth to gracefully handle all the messy ambiguity of the real world.
Let's actually walk through these 4 states, because this is a real game changer. State 1 is just true, perfect for processing absolute facts. State 2 is false, which is used for identifying incorrect data. We're pretty used to those. But look at state 3. Both true and false. I love this one. It's kind of like asking if a hot dog is a sandwich, right? It equips the AI to handle contradictions and nuance, which massively reduces rigid bias. And then state 4 is neither true nor false. This allows the machine to navigate deep, deep ambiguity and incredibly complex contexts where forcing a simple yes or no would actually be destructive. It's totally flexible decision-making.
On top of that, the framework also integrates Chinese Mozi logic right alongside modern machine learning. And why does that matter? Well, because Mozi logic focuses really heavily on relationships and analogies.
So this integration acts like a bridge. It gives the AI this incredible ability to evaluate complex relationships and essentially learn context-based morality. It learns to reason through specific case studies and analogies rather than just blindly executing a list of absolute rules.
All right, Section 4, Yin-Yang Balance and Taoism.
So you might be wondering, how on earth do you map ancient concepts like yin and yang directly onto AI system architecture? It's actually brilliant. In this model, the yin represents generative AI. It's fluid, highly flexible, adaptable, and deeply creative. But as we know, creativity unchecked can lead to hallucinations. So it desperately needs the yang, which represents symbolic AI. Symbolic AI is totally transparent, rule-based, strictly logical, and highly verifiable. Maha AI Plus argues that an ethical, safe AI absolutely has to have this exact yin-yang balance, the creative freedom of the yin firmly anchored by the strict accountability of the yang.
And we really can't talk about Taoism without bringing up Wu Wei. By definition, this is the principle of non-action, or, maybe more accurately, not forcing nature against its grain. When you apply this to AI development, it means actively stepping away from that incredibly harsh, rigid, top-down programming control that tries to micromanage every single output of the system.
Because when you strip away those forced constraints and truly apply Wu Wei, you get what the researchers call emergent intelligence. The system is allowed to learn, adapt, and just organically grow smarter based on its interactions. It's not being forced through artificial bottlenecks. It's an organic growth of intelligence that perfectly aligns with the natural flow of data.
Moving on to Section 5, Technology for Ecology.
So far, we've talked a lot about software, but Maha AI Plus also introduces a vital, physical, infrastructural concept called sufficiency computing. Look, we all know that training these massive AI models requires colossal data centers, and they consume just staggering amounts of electricity and water. Sufficiency computing takes this Eastern philosophy and applies it directly to hardware and energy, actively designing systems that are aimed at drastically reducing this massive environmental footprint.
The really big takeaway here is that this is a completely holistic approach. It's all about aligning our digital architecture with the Earth's actual ecological limits. Maha AI Plus makes the very strong argument that true technological advancement literally cannot come at the cost of destroying the environment we live in. It's trying to find a real balance between our insatiable demand for data and our planet's very finite resources.
And finally, Section 6, Towards Cyber Peace. The endgame here isn't just to build a slightly better chatbot. The goal is the creation of what they call a digital sangha. Now in Buddhism, a sangha is a really supportive, deeply connected community. So a digital sangha is a shared intelligence network whose primary directive is actually healing our digital society. It's a massive, explicit shift away from just using AI to maximize corporate profit or drive a smart economy, and instead using it to foster a genuinely supportive global network.
I mean, just imagine it, an AI infrastructure designed right at its core, using that four-state Catuṣkoṭi logic and the Noble Eightfold Path to actually mediate online and real-world conflicts. An AI that actively works to reduce digital hate and polarization, rather than, feeding it for engagement clicks. It aims to heal and support society, ultimately striving to achieve true cyber peace. It's directly attempting to repair those intense geopolitical and social tensions we highlighted at the very beginning of this explainer.
Yet, of course, an idea is only as good as its execution. And as academic researchers rightfully point out, success here relies entirely on unprecedented cross-disciplinary collaboration. We're going to need hardcore software engineers, formal logicians, and Eastern philosophers all sitting at the exact same table, working to translate these beautiful, ancient, abstract philosophies into concrete, actionable code. It is an absolutely massive undertaking.
Which leaves us with one final, incredibly vital question to think about. In our current era of really intense geopolitical tension and looming ecological crisis, could Maha AI Plus, this brilliant, unexpected fusion of ancient wisdom and modern code, actually become the new global blueprint for true cyber peace? It's a completely fascinating paradigm shift, and honestly, it's one we desperately need to be paying attention to. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning the technology around you.